Thank you so much. And this is really neat to be a part of this. I have to say, this is entrepreneurship at its best. When you think about one, Zoom, and number two, having the ability to have us almost half a world away from each other, being able to talk to each other and share ideas and concepts and our humanity. So I greatly appreciate that. I'm gonna try to share my screen. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. And that way you can kind of see the PowerPoint we're gonna go through as we go through it. And I've got some videos loaded into it, so I hope you enjoy that. Thank you so much for the introduction. And just to give you, as you mentioned, my background I've had multi-purpose background, so you know who I am. That's the image at the bottom is part of the Arctic Circle, a community called Lutselk'e, which is a remote community, and we built the first indigenous remote innovation center in the world. And I'll show you an image on the next slide about some of the work we did there. But I've been at many universities and working with young people who I love to work with because I get energized because the creativity and the excitement that comes out of it. The other picture there is of me in the Middle East with a falcon. The falcon is a prized possession over there, a bird of prey. And then here are a couple images of some of the places I've worked. That's the picture on the bottom where it looks like I'm over the beach. That's in Rio. And that was working with Startup Rio, which is a great organization there. The middle image is of young people working with 3D printers in the indigenous innovation center we created in the Arctic. We had 12 and 13-year-old kids who've never really done anything in the classroom, and they became experts on 3D printers in a matter of minutes. And then that's me looking at a monkey. If you've ever seen Batu Cave in Kuala Lumpur, it's a beautiful shrine there. And the monkeys there, you buy bananas and they steal them from you on the way up the stairs. And so the reason I bring this up is I've been blessed. I've been in many places and worked. And so the real question is, why do I do this? And why I kind of put out to you is, why are you interested in entrepreneurship? The image I show here is two images. That one, we just had a day of remembrance on September 11th here on Friday. I spoke at a large event remembering the heroes that lost their lives on that day in New York City. But I also show an image of the Taj Hotel in Mumbai. I was there. I was brought in, I believe I landed on the 27th of November in 2008 with my team to assist with the response by your nation. And I'm very fond. I've worked with your nation multiple times in response to crises that have occurred. And so the question is, why entrepreneurship for me, and why do I get involved with this? And it goes back to these events here as well. I believe that when we have young people and we have people who have no chance to be successful and no opportunities to have impact, they want to be successful at something. And what I've found globally is that people, if they can't be successful at being good, and they can't be successful in the dominant culture and economy, they will become successful in other ways. And what they'll become successful at is doing bad things. If I can't be good at being good, I'll be good at being something, I'll be good at being bad. So I've spent most of my life trying to stop people from strapping bombs on their bodies and going into marketplaces and hotels and businesses and blowing themselves up. And so what I believe is that young people, that we have an opportunity to engage and to change the trajectory of their lives. And so that's why I do what I do. I go globally and I try to work with young people because I believe there's so much untapped potential inside of our minds. And I believe that's what entrepreneurship is really about. There's a great in the U.S. There's a football team, a college football team, Alabama, and Alabama is like considered the pinnacle. They've had 5 national titles, which means they're the best team in the nation in football, American football, not the world football. I love world football. We call it soccer over here, and I really learned to love that being overseas. But here, football is kind of like it's everything to our culture. And Alabama has won 5 national titles in like the last 12 years. And so they're the best team out there. Nick Saban is their coach. And Nick Saban says this: the only question that you must ask yourself is this: in whatever you're doing, am I thriving or am I just surviving? And I say that to you as students and future leaders and entrepreneurs and working in your masters and everything else, is that what are you doing right now? Are you just surviving today? Are you just surviving in the classroom? Are you just surviving? Are you just getting by? Are you just doing enough? I'd argue that if you are at GIBS, a prestigious, one of the top business schools in the world, you are not just surviving. You are thriving. But the question is, now that you're here, what more will you do? How far will you push yourself? How far will you go? Many people remember Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant just passed away. It was one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Kobe Bryant in basketball would take 1,000 shots with a basketball a day. 1,000 shots. Most people will not take 1,000 shots, but that's what it took to be a master at what he does. My question to you is, are you willing to put 1,000 hours in? Are you willing to take 1,000 shots at the business? Are you willing to do everything? Are you willing to work late, get up early? Are you willing to do what others want? We call it, are you willing to grind it? Are you willing to give 11? Why do I say 11? Is because somebody will say, well, this guy did 10 miles. Well, are you going to do 11 miles? Or this person did 10 repetitions. Are you going to do 11 repetitions? What will you do to set yourself apart? Because it's all about what you will do. Entrepreneurs are about that. That's what entrepreneurship is. So my question to you is, and to students here, is what is entrepreneurship? We talk about I'm an entrepreneur. People will say that and use that term all the time, but what does it mean? I see we got a hand raised. Can I pull them up, or can you allow them to speak, Professor?
Yeah, Rahul, you want to type?
Yes. Rahul, can you speak?
Rahul, if you are comfortable typing, you can. Rahul, if you are comfortable typing, you can.
Yeah.
Or maybe you type and you can go on, Professor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he typed the answer. We'll type the response, you think, Rahul? Rahul?
Okay, Monica has answered the art of innovating views, ideas, bringing into reality.
Very good. So entrepreneurship is innovating views and ideas, bringing into reality. I like the way you're going with this. And entrepreneurs look at things differently and all different ideas. And so entrepreneurship, well, I like this. Entrepreneurship is a capacity and willingness to develop a business. It's Davika, very good. Sounds like you Googled that. Did you Google that? That's being entrepreneurship. I like that. Absolutely. So you're right. So let me see if I can pull up the next slide. The next slide will have the definition of it. But let's see if I can get it up. There we go. Entrepreneurship, designing, launching, and running a new business. That's exactly what it is. So, but the question is, what is an entrepreneur? What are the skill sets that an entrepreneur? We have a lot of people say, I'm an entrepreneur. What a lot of that means is that I'm postponing real life for right now while I get my act together, but I want to tell people I'm doing something. And so a lot of people that I talk to will say, oh, I said, what are you doing? Well, I'm an entrepreneur. That means you're just living in your parents' basement. I know what that means. Okay, what I want to know is what skills. So can somebody respond by typing, what skills must them, and I'll put them up here, what skills must an entrepreneur have? And what we say is this, entrepreneurs are risk takers. And we define risk takers. We talk about risk takers all the time. But I'm talking about a real risk taker. Entrepreneurs are people that see things that others don't see. And they're willing to risk it. In the US, just to give you an idea, it takes 10 launches to have one success for an entrepreneur. So basically 10% success rate for an entrepreneur. So what that says to me, I have a friend, Nabi, he's from Lebanon, he's here. He's had 8 businesses launched. He's launched 8 businesses. None of them have been successful yet. I tell him every time, I said, you're 2 away from knocking it out of the park. You're 2, that's what an entrepreneur is, because what are you learning from generation 1 to generation 2 to generation 3? Because each launch you will learn from. Each launch you get better at it. Each launch you become a better business person. So understanding that, that's what entrepreneurship is. And being able to think critically and problem solve. And we'll talk about it a little bit more today when we get into the presentation, but if you're an entrepreneur, you're solving a problem. You see a problem, you see a challenge, and you solve it. And then the last thing is creativity and being creative and thinking. And so I'll give you a quick example of this, is that when I was brought up to the Arctic, I got brought up there. One of my backgrounds is in asset protection and cultural intelligence and threat mitigation. So I was asked to go up to the Arctic Circle because they're the largest diamond mines in the northern hemisphere of the globe are up there. And they're worried about incursions from Russia coming over the top of the circle. When I get up there, there's a village of about 280 to 300 people. And they're remote, and but the diamond mines, they use their land. So the diamond mines are like, we have all of this money, but we can't get these people to work for us. And they only work, they'll only come and work to make so much money and they leave, and they don't understand time management, and they don't want to put in, they don't want to be here long term. And I said, well, yeah, it doesn't make sense. They're a hunter culture. They're a culture that was raised off following the herd across the tundra. They don't understand long-term investment. They're not what we call the law of the harvest. The law of the harvest is a business concept, is an agricultural concept that says this: I plant my seeds in the spring. I spend all summer making sure I take care of them, and in the fall, I reap what I sowed. I said, they don't have that. What happens is, for this group, they get hungry, they kill, they'll go fish, or they'll go kill a muskox, and they bring it home and they eat it, but they can't kill too much because they don't have any place to store it. So they kill just enough, and then they go back out when they get hungry again. And they said, well, that makes sense, because they come work and they make enough money to go buy something. Then they go back and they spend it. Then they go work. And I said, well, let's stop trying to fit them into a box, which was an old work model. Let's create an innovation center. And for the circumpolar region, let's focus on droning, 3D printing, gaming systems, coding systems, so that we become a hub of innovation for the circumpolar region in the technology that will run the future of this region. So to be able to look at the problem that they had and come up with a creative solution, that's what an entrepreneur does. Sometimes you're successful, sometimes you're not. But so that's kind of what my goal is when I work with people. So what I'd like to show, and I'm hoping my videos play without too much of a lag time. I love this. This is a guy who's an inventor who has his boss come in, and his boss is going to help him monetize, and he's going to help him take these inventions to market. So I'm going to pull up the video. Let's see how it plays for us. Give a second for YouTube to load it. I'll take a second for YouTube to load it. There it goes.
Ah, you must be Felix, the bright young inventor.
Yeah, and you are?
I am Alex, your new supervisor.
Do you have lots of inventing experience?
No, even better. I am the owner's son. So obviously I am perfectly qualified. So what inventions have you to show me?
Oh, well, there's one that I'm rather excited about. In the future, people will be using cell phone devices, every man and woman. So I have created a machine called voicemail.
Go on.
Yeah, it will allow you to leave messages on people's phones. And it will have recorded instructions that teach you how to use it for your first time.
No, every time. We must teach them every time.
But won't they know how to use it after one time?
No, we must instruct them every time. And it won't be really, really annoying.
Okay, if you say so. Oh, and then there's this. In the future, people will use elevator machines to get around, and they will always be rushing to catch the elevator. So I created a button called Open Door, which will hold the door open.
Ah, yes. We will have another button called Close Door, which will do nothing.
Why won't it just close the door?
That's crazy talk.
Listen, Alex, maybe I will stick to inventing and you can like work in marketing or something.
No, the office is clear across town, and you know how bad the traffic is.
Oh, well, I have something that might help with that. It's called a stoplight, and it uses colors to direct the traffic.
Ah, yes, and the color for stop and the color for go will be the two colors that the colorblind people cannot tell apart.
Alex, these are really bad ideas.
Believe in yourself.
No, not my ideas. Your ideas. You're ruining my inventions.
Nonsense. I am helping you.
Oh.
What is this?
No, don't touch that. That is an alarm clock, and it uses soothing Beethoven music to wake you up in the morning.
No, it will make a noise like this.
Stop! 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 Why would anybody want that? Stop! 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 You will give everyone a seizure.
Ooh, what is this? This looks nice.
This is Netflix.
Will be the home of all lousy movies.
Oh, please, TV remotes.
We'll have hundreds of buttons that do nothing.
You two.
We'll launch the career of Justin Bieber.
Please, I beg you.
No, relax, Felix. Together, our inventions will change the world.
Well, at least I still have one invention so simple, even you cannot ruin it. The bathrobe.
No. The Snuggie.
Well, not the best inventions, but the best intentions they had. I think we have a couple of hand raised. Let me see if we can pull up any questions in my. Oh, yes. Creative uniqueness. I love this. Yes. So that's where I want to go. I like where you're thinking. Monica, creative uniqueness, how we compare entrepreneurs and managers. Excellent. So a manager, I always say this all the time, a manager is someone who manages things. You manage data. You manage equipment. You manage time. You don't manage people. You lead people. Entrepreneurs see things so differently, they need to be unleashed. And so they need qualified good leaders with them. And creative uniqueness, Monica, which you bring up, I think is really a cool question. And here's where I go with this is that there's a term called functional fixedness. So functional fixedness, it means that we attach a function to an object. And once we attach that function to the object, that's the only function that object can have. And then we lose the ability to see it any other way. And so if you think about this, and I'll give you an example of functional fixedness in my life, and I'm much older than you, I'll hold up my cell phone, but when I first got my phone, my first cell phone was a bag. It was a bag, and you pull it out, you look cool. You walked around with a big bag. And then I had a flip phone, the phone that flipped and where you pulled up the antenna. But the function that I fixed to my phone was to call people. Phones were to be used to call people. So then this guy, you may have heard a guy, he's a guy named Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs comes up with this idea of smartphones. And he comes up with this idea that you could put music on your phone. And I think this guy's an idiot. I gotta tell you, I'm going, these phones don't last to begin with. They break all the time. Now I'm gonna put my music on them. Then he says, no. Not only do you put your music on it, but you're gonna do all your banking on it. You're gonna order cars on it for your share ride. You're gonna order food on it. You can, I can get my hair appointment. I don't have much hair, but I can do it, if I want, I can. But I was not prepared for that. So I fixed a function to this inanimate object, and the function was receive and call. That was it. And so I had to change my paradigm and see things completely differently. What I love about entrepreneurs is that they can see things so differently. They can see a challenge and then find it and create something different. At the same time, I say that functional fixedness is something that we do to each other. So when we see an individual, sometimes we fix a function to them. We see them and we think, oh, they're less than a person. Or I see a person on the street, they're homeless, and now they're homeless, so they're not as bright and they're not as intelligent. Or what I saw, which I thought was amazing when I was in the Middle East, and I had this discussion, was the place of women in society. A function was attached to women in society that women were to be a subservient role, and women weren't to be taken seriously inside of academia or inside of the business world or inside of government. And I worked with a family over there, and I said, but first off, 52% of their population is female. And I said, if you want to be a world leader or be on the world stage, you can't turn your back on 52% of your population or brain power. Just as impossible. Your brain power, you need all of your collective brain power to be exceptional. One. Number two is, I knew that 65% of the PhDs in the nation were women. So I said, your largest source of brain power in your nation are women, and you don't have them in the boardrooms. You don't have them inside of academia. You don't have them in the universities, and you don't have them in your businesses. How do you expect to be outstanding? And so what we had to do is change the functional fixedness of how they saw something. And so, or a person. So I say that to you as well. Sometimes the way people see us, I was once told by a mentor of mine, we see ourselves in others' eyes. We see our value in other people's eyes and how they acknowledge us. And so we even have to change the meaning of ourselves. And as an entrepreneur, we really have to reject the rejections that we're going to face in the world. And so I'd like to give you show you an example of this. If I could get this slide to move on me. This young man I'm going to show you is from the Maasai tribe in Africa, in Kenya. And this young man is faced with a challenge. And think about this for yourselves, the challenges that you face in your life. Now, this young man is faced with one, very young at the time. I think he was 11 when he first is faced with this challenge. It's this challenge of survival for his family and his family's life, the lifeblood of his family. And he has to now take that on and attack it. So let's play this video. I hope everybody can see it.
Protecting livestock from predators is a problem faced by many African farmers. Recently, I met someone who solved a complex problem using simple technology and creativity. Kitengela is a village on the border of the Nairobi National Park. This peaceful rural part of Kenya is home to a remarkable young man who came up with an invention that would not only save cattle, but have a major impact on lion conservation.
The land and the human conflict has been there, even when I was born. They were always killing lions.
Richard Turere grew up herding his father's cattle here in Kitengela, where lions regularly came from the neighboring reserve to attack his family's livestock.
So there's a border here, which is the river. The river is the border. So the lions just cross over.
Now 15, Richard still spends time herding cows, but his real passion has always been technology.
I love solving problems. I just wanted to know how stuff works. I remember I broke my mom's new radio and she got really very angry. She wanted to kill me, but I learned a lot about electronics.
Richard is a local hero. His homegrown cattle protection invention has taken him across the oceans to California and back again. But his big idea originated right here among the cattle.
We had a very big problem with the lions attacking our father's cows at night.
Almost daily attacks on the community's livestock left Richard's family desperate. In the region, cows are the #1 income generator for most families. Was there ever an attack while you were watching the cattle?
Yeah, one day they attacked cows when I was there, and actually killed. Yeah, they never stopped coming.
Richard was determined to come up with a solution to protect his father's cattle. He tried everything from lighting bonfires to scarecrows to electric fencing. Nothing worked.
We tried so many things. One of them was this use of branches, because we wanted to make a fence that when the lion comes at night, he would not be able to see the cows inside there. But it didn't work. They would just step on them and then decide to go inside and kill the animals.
One night, he made an interesting discovery.
So I discovered that the lions will not come if someone is patrolling around. So I made lights that will actually trick them that somebody was walking around, but they were not there.
And so the solar-powered lion lights were born.
So the solar started with this battery.
Richard figured out that by connecting LED lights to a solar-powered battery through an indicator from a motorbike, he could make the lights flash, mimicking a patroller's torch. So this is
this is one of the lion lights, yeah. This is how the lions get tricked that I'm walking around with the lights, because normally at night, when you walk with a torch, it looks like it's flashing, because you're walking, your footsteps are making the lights look like it's flashing. It tricks the lions that you're always patrolling around, and that time you've been in bed sleeping.
So what did your parents say when they saw that you'd put all of this up and that it worked?
I think the final word was they were just proud of me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Since installing the first set of line lights over 2 years ago, Richard's family haven't lost a single cow to lion attacks. And that was only the beginning. News of his invention spread quickly. First his neighbors and then farmers across the country started commissioning Richard to install their own line lights. Around the same time, a group of conservationists from Wildlife Direct, led by Dr. Paula Kahumbu, were conducting research into lion attacks on homesteads. When they came across Richard's remarkable invention, they put him forward for a scholarship at a top private school in Kenya. With the scholarship secured, Richard then pitched for a coveted spot at the 2013 International TED Talk Conference in California, and won.
My community, the Maasai, they kill the lions. It's one of the 6 lions which were killed in Nairobi. I used to hate lions, but now because my invention is saving my father's cows and the lions, we're able to stay with lions without any conflict.
I used to watch TED Talks when I was a little boy, because my dad liked watching them. So I'll watch them, and I didn't imagine that one day I'll actually sit down and watch my own TED Talk.
What he runs into is he faces a challenge and his creativity becomes a solution, and he saves not only his family's farm, but he also saves the lions that he hated so much. So what I'd like to do is I believe in, I talk about creative intelligence, and people talk about your IQ, your intelligence quotient, and people being brilliant. And I believe there's multiple levels of intelligence in the world. Creative intelligence is something I believe we can all grow and develop. And I find it's really rewarding when we unleash it because of how we can reimagine the future and reimagine the world. And we see the simplest of things and we make something great out of them. What I'd like to do is I love doing creative intelligence exercise. So if you guys will bear with me, what I'd like you to do is where you're at, I want you, if you have a piece of paper just on your computer, I want you to write some things down. I'm gonna give you a prompt to you, and then I'm gonna ask you to write some things down. And then if you could share them kind of in your chat box as we kind of, and I'll read them off to you, some of the ideas. So here's the deal. Here's what I'm gonna throw at you, because I want you, creativity takes time. It takes concentration, but it's also about letting go and being free with your ideas and your concepts. And this is where I'm going with this. So I want you to think, and don't be constrained by what I call creative confinement or intellectual incarceration by how we see the world today. Remove all of that. Remove those cubicle hell type things, and go free in thinking. So here's the deal. We're gonna problem solve, and we're gonna work with something that's a gel. And what happens is NASA in the U.S., NASA is the National Aeronautical and Space Group. So they send spaceships up into the orbit. You could say maybe it's Virgin now, or maybe it's Elon Musk with SpaceX. Or whoever sends it up, they send the spacecraft up into the outer space, and it goes flying around and goes way out past Saturn, and all of a sudden it comes back. And when it comes back, it lands on Earth. And all of a sudden, attached to the rocket, the spaceship, they find a gelatin-like substance. And they're trying to figure out, what will this gelatin-like substance do? Is it good, or is it bad, or is it evil, whatever else it is? And they find out that so far there's nothing negative on it. What they know is that this gelatin, this substance, can do anything at all. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to, in the next, and I'm going to give you just about a minute. In the next 60 seconds, I want you to jot down 10 things, minimum of 10 things that this gel can do. Remember, it can do anything and everything. No limit. And I don't care if you jot down that it could be a vampire, or it could be, I don't care. Blueberries. I don't care. Durian, which is a terrible fruit. I really can't stand durian. It's not a very good fruit. Whatever you, but so jot down, you've got 60 seconds to jot down what this gel can do. You got it? Go. Jot it down. 60 seconds. If you could go past 60, keep going. I mean, go past 10, just keep going.
Keep writing in your Q&A or chat box.
Yes. Oh. Okay, you got 30 seconds left.
Guys, you could get the question. Students, you could get the question. What can you do with the gel? Anything.
Anything. You can brush your teeth with the gel.
Yeah, what about the gel can be used for anything, taking bath, brushing, or painting house. What all things you can think in next, whatever, 30 seconds, try.
Good. Hair gel. What else? I don't know if I could use hair gel. I don't have enough hair, but.
No, I'm a poor advertisement for it.
Maybe in the past we were good ones for it, right?
Yeah. Think. What else? You can do anything.
Anything with it. You can save people who with diabetes. You can use it as medicine.
Okay, good, Naveen. Naveen Raj, electricity, fuel, water. Okay.
Excellent. I like that. Yes, now you're thinking creatively. It could fix a flat tire.
Okay.
Paint gel.
Okay.
Yes. Anybody else? Come on, couple more. Let's put them up there.
Think it can be used for anything. Anything you think.
Anything you want. You could put it on it could be a spice that you could put on some food.
Food, yeah.
Food, you could eat it.
You can eat it. Gel and tires replacing air. Oh, great.
That's glue. I like that. There you go. We could fill gel and tires replacing air. Great idea. Oh, I like that. Cleaning stagnant water.
Oh, great.
Superhuman strength. I like that. Now you see, you guys are getting it now. The juices are flowing. Do you see, this is why this is so important, is that we have to get in a creative zone and start thinking differently and seeing differently. These are how solutions come together. I'll give you a couple examples of this. I've spoken about this before to give you ideas of what creativity means inside of business.
Sorry, Johnson, I like this. Celestina Nandita's response. Gel could just transform itself into a person whom we are imagining, maybe who didn't even exist.
Yeah, see? This is why you guys are creative. I like this. Yeah. Exactly. So let me give you an example of, a couple ideas I come up with. So in crazy ideas you can come up with. For me, it's like, you guys have Nescafe, right? Nescafe,
yeah.
The coffee. I love Nescafe. I like the the 2-in-1 that has the, I love that. I order it and I have it shipped in my office. I have a kettle and I make Nescafe because I don't like regular US coffee. So, but when I'm in my car, I like to drive, I want Nescafe in my car, but I don't have anything to do. I have to bring it with me. So I came up with Nescarfe. Nescarfe. It's a machine that can make Nescafe in my car. So Nescarfe. I'm hoping I can get this out. So you see where I'm going? You come up with crazy ideas and fun ideas. I give you one more. I say my big one. I've told you one of my big ones before, but I'll say it again later. But in the U.S., we have horse racing. Horse racing is a big deal. We just had the Kentucky Derby.
Yes.
And the greatest horse of all time in the U.S. is a horse called Secretariat. Secretariat. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen where they have animals like dogs. They lose the use of their back legs and they get put on like a little cart. And the dogs run and their back legs are with wheels on a cart. And so the dogs run and they're because even though they're paralyzed, they get to continue to run and have fun and people love it. So they have these little 2-wheel carts that they put on it. And so horses, people don't realize that horses, when they break their legs, they put horses down because they can't support the weight. And so what I came up with is a little cart that goes underneath the horse. So when the horse runs, it's still okay. And instead of calling it, I came up with, chariots. Chariots are what horses run with, the chariots like back in the Roman days. So I came something called Secretariat. It's a chariot for horses who are disabled. Anyway, that was one of my ideas. This is what I do. I play games with myself, mental games. My family, it drives them crazy because they're like, you come up with really dumb ideas. But the dumber the ideas, the greater things that we come up with after that. It's so we don't judge people. Petroleum judge is universal. It should be used around the world to protect and heal. That's already out there, but we could get a better one. I like the way you're thinking. Right, there you go. Gel, deodorants, and sometimes you need deodorants and car. So your guys are right on it. Let me show you. I've got one more. I gotta see how this thing goes. Come on, work with me. I want to show you some cool inventions out there that people are creating right now. If I can get the thing to move forward. Come on, move for me. Cool invention. Here we go. Cool invention videos. Here, I'd like you to take a look at a couple inventions that people have come up with, just to give you an idea of just simple things that people have created. So entrepreneurs solve problems. If a problem exists, what can I do to fix it? So think about in your life, what are the problems and what can I do to fix it? Or what can I do to enhance something to make it better? So I take something and make it better. Here are just a couple examples out there of innovations. So let me ask you a question. If you could just kind of on the chat, which was what was your favorite invention out of the ones I just showed you? Could some people chime in? What was the one you liked the most? Oh, the hovering backpack. Oh, snowshoes. What can you say why you liked those two? Which one you liked? Snowshoe, floating machine. Yeah, I like the floating one for the water. The hovering backpack I thought was super cool too. The snowshoes I could have used up in the Arctic. That was really cold up there. The pillow. Yeah, with glasses. I wear glasses at night, and the pillow would be. I don't know how many times I've fallen asleep and like woke up with my glasses sticking in my ear. So yeah, and I thought the floating thing to get you if you go underwater, and I think it's 100 kilograms, 130 kilograms. They'll pull you up. Yep. When you go with I like the fact that it says it takes the weight about 80 to 90% off on that bag. I thought that was important. Very cool. So the neat part about it is, and I appreciate you guys chiming in, because the neat part about it is seeing that somebody took a backpack. A backpack is something we've used for forever. And they just said, hey, you know what? The backpacks are super heavy. And I've used the backpacks. You know, we call them rucksack. We've gone out with 50 plus pounds out and done our recon and stuff. And those backpacks weigh a boatload, and they put so much stress on your back. So they just said, hey, listen, there's a better way to put the weight on the backpack. So they created it. Like the snowshoe. Snowshoe's been around forever, but there's a better way to do it. So they constantly create something new, which I think is really kind of cool how it goes. Let's see what else we have. Backpacks will be useful in multiple situations. Ever use exactly. So they've just improved on the backpack. Boy, I like the life-saving tube for swimming. We could use the gel for a life-saving tube for swimming. How about that? It's so there's this quote that I saw that said, "Don't limit," and I like it. Don't limit your challenges. Challenge your limits in the sense of if you've got to push yourself beyond. It's so a lot of people tell you in life you can't. And I always tell people when somebody says you can't, that what they've told you is they can't. It means they can't. They can't imagine, they can't push themselves, they can't do it. They don't know you. And so when I went through training, my master chief would say to me something that I thought was powerful. When I went through a very rigorous training in special forces was that do today, he would say all the time, do today what others won't. So do today what others won't. So some people aren't willing to get up at 4:30 in the morning. And some people aren't willing to run 20 miles. And some people aren't willing to work into the night. And some people aren't willing to create and think differently. And some people really aren't willing to put themselves out so far that they fail. They said, so do it today what others won't. So tomorrow you can do what others can't. So people they can't imagine what you're about to create or do because they're not you. So challenge your limits every day and push yourself every day. And that's really what we're talking about here. And so let me get to our next slide as we go through. It takes a moment. Dr. Ashwin said this, and I thought this was, and that goes exactly what I was saying, is the trench is as much a part of the growth and expansion as the peak is. Hitting the bottom before you succeed is almost a rite of passage. It means that, in essence, you have to be comfortable with failing. We all fail. Many of us, and it's normal. I was in Rio, and when I was in Rio de Janeiro with Startup Rio, you heard this. I thought it was interesting. They said, we don't fear failure. And I argued the point with them that you have to fear failure. You're not normal if you don't fear failure. Courage is fearing failure and doing it anyways. Fear, what an entrepreneur has is courage. They fear failure, but they know they have to fail to be successful. And what they want to do is fail fast. And if they don't win, they learn. It's so what Dr. Ashwin's saying here is that you're gonna hit bottom as an entrepreneur. You're gonna go bankrupt as a company. You're gonna lose. You won't have any funding. You will not be successful. But you're learning, and as you're learning, as long as you're learning from that, you will continue to grow and be successful. And so I want to show you, because this is, think about robotics. So this is Boston Robots. I love robots because robots are just like, I remember cyborgs and stuff like that as a kid. I always loved robots. Robots are taking over, and robots are being more and more, robots will change our world. Robots are, with artificial intelligence, the creation, and the deal with this, I want to show you the video of this of robots, is that the crazy thing is 3 years ago, they couldn't program a robot to walk down a flight of stairs. A robot could not be able, it just couldn't figure out how to do it. So 3 years ago, that's where we're at with robots. Now I want to show you what Boston Robots has done and continues to do, and then we'll talk about why it's so important. So robots are now, they have videos of robots doing parkour, jumping, and leaping. And now robots are able to do what we can't do. So imagine in a deep sea accident, they can send robots down to rescue people. Inside of collapsed buildings, robots can go in. Inside of infernos, like we're having these terrible forest fires in California and our West Coast. Robots can go in there where humans can't go. Robots are able also to provide humans, people with access. So if I'm elderly or if I've lost the ability to use my legs, robots now are being designed to have me stand straight up and carry me, almost become part of my body, bionics, and walk me through. But this is people's ideas. And people have to think differently. And that's what entrepreneurship is. It crosses so many different areas. So I want to do one more exercise with you, and we'll move along. And this is the gel. And I want you to think about it for a minute now so you came up with some ideas for the gel. Remember the gel that came back that you could do anything with. So here's what I want you to do. And I want you to do this you got like 2 minutes, so you got to have fun with it, is that I want you to come up, the one concept you had a bunch of different ideas. For you, what was your concept? I want you to come up with a business name for your gel and why somebody should buy your gel. Does that make sense? So the gel, basically what is the problem itself? Why should I buy this gel? This gel is the best hair gel because it'll make my hair grow back, and my name for it of this hair gel is, Rich's Super Gel. You know what I mean? But you got to be creative, kind of like what I did. So here, I'm going to give you a quick example of my business, my last business I'm sharing today, because I don't want anybody stealing it. And so I worked up in the Arctic. And when I worked up in the Arctic, there was a problem. Now remember, entrepreneurs solve problems. So grizzly bears. Grizzly bears can get up to 12 feet tall. They can get up to about 1,200 pounds. And you're not gonna believe this, but a grizzly bear, and I don't know what it would be in kilometers, but in miles per hour, a grizzly bear can run 33 miles per hour. That's super fast. The problem with that is it's faster than I can run. And so a bear can outrun you. So if it sees you, it can chase you down. And so you can't outrun a bear. The bear can climb a tree, so you can't outclimb the bear. The bear can swim, so you can't outswim the bear. The only thing they taught me in survival school is run downhill from the bear, because the bear's front paws are shorter than the back paws. So if the bear's running, it tumbles down the hill after you. Now, I don't think that's a good thing, because if I'm running downhill and it tumbles down the hill past me and it goes at the bottom of the hill because it rolled past me, now it's mad because its hair's all messed up. It's got leaves. Now the bear is pissed at me, and I don't want a mad grizzly bear at me. And so I'm like, what do I do if I run into a grizzly bear? And there are more and more attacks every year by grizzly bears. So did anybody ever see it? And I know we can't see it, but has anybody ever seen the movie Jurassic Park, or like the Jurassic Park movies? And I love Jurassic Park movies. And the apex predator, the big predator, is the T-Rex. It's the big, it's got the short arms but the big jaws, right? Even in the last one, the T-Rex is like, it's it, man. It's domain. They bring the T-Rex out. So I came up with this idea. And remember, we were watching the video, somebody was talking about the video where you pop the balloon and you float up in the water. And I combined that with the backpack you see, and I came up with something called Save Giraffes Pack. You with me on this? Save Giraffes Pack. And so you got your backpack on and you're walking through the woods, and all of a sudden out comes this 1,200-pound, 12-foot tall grizzly bear. You can't outrun it. You can't outclimb it. You can't outswim it. What do? I pulled a switch on my Save Giraffes Pack, and a giant, like that floatable thing, a giant inflatable T-Rex comes out of my backpack. It detaches, and it makes a big noise, like, and it detaches and it lands. So now think about this. The grizzly bear has never seen a T-Rex in its life, right? At this moment, T-Rex making noise, big creature, you little thing. The bear is fixated on the T-Rex, gives me time to get out of there. And then I'll have like a sticky substance on the T-Rex. So now the bear's just flipping around with a balloon. You know what I mean? So that's my idea. So Save Giraffes. So the backpack I've combined with a little thing. So anyways, I need people to test it for me. So if anybody's interested in testing this with a live grizzly bear, let me know and we can go do this. No, I haven't found any volunteers yet. So here's the deal. I need you to just take a minute. Let's think about you were talking about gel, hair gel, tire fill, whatever it is. Come up with a cool name for it, like Save Giraffes Pack, and then why? And just put it in the box. Can you guys do that for me real quick? You gotta be quick about it.
Yeah. Just take a minute or two and type Devika, Naveen, Vaibhav, Monica. You have given your own ideas as a tire, saving solution, hair gel, or creating a human being. All that you can do, but give a brand name for it, and then why people should buy. One sentence.
I like this. Jelly Q can significantly improve one's IQ for X period of time. I like that. I need that. I need to buy it. You got to give me a price on that.
Free for you.
Free for stagnant water is a very common problem. Every bit of that's right. Yeah, absolutely. With you a proper, clean, tidy environment, can you give us the jal? Is it jal water in Hindi? Oh, I like this. I like this. Yes. Very nice. You guys are creative. I like this. Very good. Very good.
Excellent, Devika. Excellent.
A couple more. Can we get a couple? This is very good. This is how we're going to find the next Elon Musk. I think this is it. You're welcome. Absolutely. Come on, we need one more at least. One more. Somebody come on, give me a great idea here. I'm stealing these ideas, by the way. I'm writing them down, and then I'm going to make my own. No, I would not do that. I would not do that. I'm doing my research. You better not steal my Save Giraffes pack. That's a great idea. I could create it also for sharks too. I think I could do it for sharks, you know? So sharks have never seen a T-Rex either, Tyrannosaurus Rex. So I'm pretty sure of that.
Hulk glue.
Ooh, Hulk glue. I could use some Hulk glue on my workouts. I'm getting old. All right, these are great. Keep them coming. I love these. Let's see where we got. I got to get us. Oh yeah, we got to go. So I'm going to move us into our last piece. So I want to leave some questions at the end. So let me see if I can clip this forward. It takes a second for this thing to move. All right. Here, I want to show you. This is a quick video on, and then we'll end with a clip. And if you got any questions, we can ask some questions. And I really appreciate your time. But I always think it's always cool to talk about what an entrepreneur is. And this is one of the best videos that I've seen. They really kind of charges my battery whenever I hear it. So let me see if I can get it up and going.
What does it mean to be an entrepreneur? In a world of inaction, over-promising and under-delivering. Every second, man seems to claim himself an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is someone that would never call himself an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is someone that is happy to work while all others are out partying. An entrepreneur's drug is success. He is addicted to success. And finally, the entrepreneur knows one simple fact. I will make it, maybe not immediately, but absolutely and definitely. You have to hustle. You have to think outside of the box to make things happen when it seems impossibly difficult for anything to happen. To continue to get up off of the canvas when you are beaten down relentlessly. Win or learn. I never lose. I will succeed, not immediately, but absolutely and definitely. I will take action when others hesitate. I will think big when others don't. I will sacrifice when others won't. I will dare to dream of greatness when others fear it. I will outwork my competition. Day and night, I am the captain of my fate, the master of my soul, the boss of my dreams, the king of my goals. You have to be a leader, to be unique, to be hungry always, and never satisfied. Proud, but never satisfied. To be followed by the competition. To take criticism and negativity and use it to build your greatness, to survive the storms and the tough moments, to be humble in the good times. It is sacrificing your today for a better tomorrow. It is living a few years of your life like others won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like others can. That sacrifice, the dedication, the commitment, the discipline. Only rare human beings have these qualities. Only the very best among us. Then there's failure. Because we all know that it is coming. It is human nature. I mean, find me a successful human that has never failed. You can't. They don't exist. The only difference between the extremely successful among us in any field and the unknown, the only difference, the successful guy didn't give up. He found a way when there seemed to be no way. The other guy, he threw in the towel. Failure is simply learning another way not to do something. There are great lessons in failure. When it comes to success, there is rarely ever a time when luck comes into play.
Hard work, however, always comes into play. There is no greater satisfaction in life than that of hard work paid off. No greater satisfaction than knowing you are self-made. Take action while all others are sitting on their hands. The great difference between the somebodies and the nobodies very often only comes down to who is willing to take action, who is willing to put in the work, the grind. Are you willing?
Elon Musk said it best. He said, I think it's possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. You got to be hungry. Entrepreneurs are hungry and extraordinary. So I appreciate the listening to me today. I hope it helped. And